Hello, today I want to share what I channeled for one of my clients. We'll call him John. It's so beautiful. He gave me permission to share some of this. So I'm keeping this as anonymous as possible. He has been very successful in his life. He had a traumatic life growing up in the first, I guess, half of his life, I would say. He had a lot of trauma, abuse, and he has now been living the second part of his life very successfully. He's had a lot of successful ventures, and he wanted to understand kind of his experiences and what he's meant to be doing. He actually had a question about how to pivot or what to do right now in his current work. And what came in for him, it was so cool. He's estranged from his kids, and what they showed is that he is a very advanced soul, and I've seen this a couple of times. He chose to incarnate. He agreed with other souls to incarnate, how to say this, to help them with their lessons. So he's at a point with his soul's at a point where he's already evolved past a lot of things. He's already learned a lot of lessons, and now he's at the teacher place. And he incarnated his immediate family, and even from like ex-partners and their families. He agreed to come in and help them with their lessons. He holds the codes of unconditional love and forgiveness. And so the trauma he experienced early on in his life was in part to facilitate the space for other people in his life to make different choices. What they showed is that one of the people that caused a lot of trauma in his life, this person had caused a lot of trauma in other lifetimes and could not quite break this cycle. And my client, John, was here to show a different way through how he approached the situation and through how he lived his life. And that this lifetime was the lifetime that caused this person who caused trauma. It caused them to go, oh shoot, there's another way, which they said is going to help him in his next incarnation, not start out in the same cycle. So my client, John, is a more advanced soul, and he incarnated into, I would call it the dark. This is not his primary soul group. It's a little bit less evolved group. And they basically, for lack of better terms, like asked for him to come in and help, like mentor them, to help get them started on the right track, because a lot of the people that chose to incarnate into this life with him have been repeating patterns and can't seem to break these patterns in their lifetimes. So I've seen this a few times, and I'll just say for those of you watching this, if you have had a lot of trauma in your life, sometimes it could be karmic, sometimes it could be connected to closing karmic loops with other people from other lifetimes. But I have seen this a handful of times where advanced souls have agreed to come in and incarnate into an experienced trauma. Number one, to help them learn. Sometimes it's to help them learn skill sets in order to teach, because we can't teach what we haven't learned. To help other people heal their trauma, or help other people in whatever way that they're meant to help. But also I've seen a handful of times these very advanced souls coming in, helping to like create a restart, like a record scratch is what they're saying. Like stopping things in its place, showing these people a different way of doing things so that they can start living in a different way. Now, what these other people do is up to them. They have free will, but one of the reasons why he's estranged from his children is because they have not yet chosen a different way. And they said what he's meant to be doing is holding the vibration and frequency of love, allowing them to learn their lessons. We can't give them the answers to their tests. What this came in again today with another client too. By living by example and accepting people for where they're at and being available to them if and when they reach out. That is one of our highest callings, versus trying to force beliefs down people's throats or trying to force people to see something a different way. So he is an advanced soul. They did show he's had very advanced lifetimes, and he's here to facilitate showing a different way of doing things to some of these other souls that have been repeating certain patterns in this lifetime. I thought that was so beautiful. And what they shared about the pivot in his work, he's been very, very successful in many ventures. But what they shared is that what he does sometimes is he makes decisions about what to do based on how it will help other people. And they said not to do that anymore, to make decisions from a place of what will be most supportive, not from a selfish or greed perspective, but Where does he feel, what will light him up the most? Will it light him up the most to go the right or the left? He has basically two decisions, we'll say, for the sake of this video. He has two decisions to make. Should he go right or left? And they said, you're kind of leaning going right because you feel like that will help this person, but you're meant to go left because he's meant to be a teacher. He's a teacher. So they said that he's actually meant to be going this other direction because he will have, people are going to be coming into his life that he's meant to be teaching. Not just third dimensional business life skills, but from a spiritual perspective, he's meant to be teaching spiritual modalities as well. And if he was to go right, it would just be to help someone from maybe face planting or not. It would be doing something for them versus allowing them to learn it themselves. And it was time now to be stepping into more of a role of a teacher and not doing things for people. So he after I shared this with him, he said, coincidentally, there is a couple of young men, I think, in his life that have been asking him to mentor. And they said, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, this is how it works. When you're aligned to your highest timeline and you move your logical brain out of the way, your higher self is going to bring you the steps to take, the next steps to take that are in line with your highest timeline. When your logical brain gets in the way, it tries to figure out, how could this possibly get me to my goal? How could this possibly help me serve people in the way I'm meant to serve? Our logical brain can only make decisions based on the programs that we've given it in our life. So we have to move that out of the way because our higher self has our whole life blueprint. And it knows that if you take this first step that can't feasibly lead you to the next place, it's because it's the next step or the step after that the first step will take you to, that's going to guide you there. So they said, this is exactly what it is. These couple of people coming into his life right now asking to be mentored is the beginning of him stepping into his higher calling and using the lessons he's learned in this lifetime to serve many, many other people. So what do you guys think about this? Drop your questions and comments. You can check out more about soul contracts, life blueprint readings on my website. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.